Prosecutor Mike Kane, how did you keep the Gloria Williams secret from your wife Cindy? John Ramsey, well, that was ultimately not possible, obviously. But I think you said 2 years. No, we were divorced after 2 years, I think. But I think that affair probably went on for 8 months or a year maybe, before it exploded. Before she found out about it. Uh-huh. But you were able to maintain it for that period of time? John Ramsey, nodding. John Ramsey, well, we hired her as a secretary in a small office, and I was vulnerable. But not crossing the line. We were at a Christmas party that this office building had. She said, gee, I left something up in my office. Do you have a key? And so I went up, unlocked the door, and as soon as the door unlocked, she turned around and kissed me. And then I just kind of got sucked in. But it was just a very strong physical attraction. Woman claims affair with JonBenet's dad. John Ramsey answered a personal ad she had placed in a newspaper in 1994, flew to Arizona, had dinner with her before they spent the night together in a hotel. Well, throughout the year, hardly at all. I mean, the only things that were down there that we would get at, I think we had some wine stored in there, just in boxes at one time. I don't know if there was any left or not, but we would get a case of wine and we'd put it down there. Cigars I stuck down there, and of course, Christmas stuff. Most of the men gathered by the spiral staircase. John made drinks for everybody from the butler's kitchen. John Ramsey also took a couple of Valium and walked through the house drinking scotch, occasionally stumbling. I'd guess, purely a guess, but it seemed like it was 7-ish probably that we sat down to eat, 'cause we were there for a while, before we actually ate, because they were preparing the dinner and we had a glass of wine and the hors d'oeuvres. Lou Smith, how much would you say you had that night? John Ramsey, I don't remember, but certainly not more than 2 glasses, and only if the glass is not very full. I like to sip on it. I might have had 2 glasses. I slept on the floor. I don't know that I even slept, only because I mean, when Beth died, I sat up all night, probably had 6 scotches. I don't know that I slept a minute. John Ramsey, are you sure it was pineapple? Lou Smith, yes. John Ramsey, no question? Lou Smith, no question, no question. So that's always been the big bugaboo. Our experts studied the pineapple in the stomach and reported that it was fresh-cut pineapple, consistent down to the rind with what we had found in the bowl. It was solid proof that it wasn't canned pineapple. John Ramsey, all right. Brian chastised me a bit on the way home. He said you were very adamant that she wouldn't be eating pineapple. What do you know for sure? I said I know we didn't feed her pineapple. I know I didn't feed her pineapple. I know Patsy didn't feed her pineapple because she said she didn't. I think here John almost gave away the fact that JonBenet was awake when they got home. He almost talked himself into a corner. John Ramsey. Well, my amateur reasoning would be that she came home at... She was in bed. She was asleep before we got home, which was, 9:15. I believe she was killed that night. Hold up a second. Rewind the tape. This is what the Boulder detectives were talking about. On the left there, you can see the spider web is connected to the concrete of the window well, and then it goes up towards the right top and is attached to the grating. This is a still from the crime scene videotape, and you can see that the spider web is attached to the grating. Here's the short clip one more time. So if the videotape shows the spider web attached to the grating and the grating couldn't have been opened, well then maybe the intruder entered somewhere else, through a door or somewhere else. John Ramsey. I took that suitcase downstairs, I remember, but I sure wouldn't have taken it all the way back there and put it against the window. John says it for a second time. But it was here for a while. It was up in the laundry room. I remember taking it downstairs to clean up, and I think I just kind of sat it in this room. Doesn't this prove that John Ramsey is guilty? That he's lying about the suitcase? He knew the suitcase was downstairs in the basement. He knew that the window was broken, and he misled everybody to believe an intruder entered through the window well, when that was impossible because there was a spider web attached to the concrete wall and the grating. The following are solely John Ramsey's words and only during his police interviews. Well, not 100% certain. 100% focus on the Ramseys. I don't know that it was 100%. Not with 100% certainty. I am not positive of this 100%. 100% sure. 100%. The ransom note. You stand a 100% chance. 10% of the audience. 70% of marriages. 80% of the time. 95% of the time. It's 95% done. The ransom note. You stand a 99% chance of killing your daughter if you try to outsmart us. But I'm 99.9%. The ransom note, particularly. John used the word particularly 17 times during his police interviews. When was the last time you monitored some kids playing? Most people just say watched. John used the word monitor 4 times during his police interview. The ransom note. If we catch you talking to a stray dog, she dies. John Ramsey during his police interview. Not really. Patsy is not that kind of person. She frankly brought home a lot of stray dogs. She didn't meet a stranger that she didn't like. The injury to JonBenet's skull was horrible and massive, and John Ramsey was the only one in the house that could have inflicted a strike to JonBenet's head that vicious, with that much strength, to actually cause that injury. This was JonBenet's doctor and a friend of the Ramseys, and Patsy sometimes called his house at home when he was at home about JonBenet. And maybe you're not aware of this, but during the police interview, the prosecutor asked this question. Okay, do you know why he was called apparently in the evening of the 7th of December 3 different times? Do you know anything about that? Why he was? Did Patsy call because JonBenet was being molested? Well, this ends this episode of Unsolved, and tomorrow night, the Zodiac Killer case. See ya.